You want to do test, test? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Woo. We got it. This is supposed to be my first try at being on platform. I got a little practice session last time, but I appreciate everyone here. It's great to see you. And shall we stand and sing our opening song?
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go now. Doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. All right now, swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Woo. Wow. So anyway, Good morning and welcome everyone to Unity of New Westminster. My name is Sharon Blackwell and I am so happy to be your platform person today. If you're joining us online, we'd love to stay connected with you, so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a website, Unity of New Westminster. Is it .ca or .com? One of those. And you could subscribe to our email newsletter. And if you want to be informed about our upcoming services, you're welcome to try those places. And for those of all of us here, lots of people here today, I am giving you a very warm welcome. If there's any newcomers today, either online or in the here, I want to give you a very welcome and warm welcome. And we hope that you enjoy your service today. If you like, you could be added to our email list, and you could just place your information in the offering basket later as it goes around. Unity Movement offers ideas of full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, and we consider our prime warm way shower and example as Jesus. But we honor that there's universal wisdom in all faith traditions all over the planet, and we respect every person's right to choose their own life path, the spiritual path. All are welcome, worthy, and are celebrated here. So we'll begin our service with an affirmative prayer. We acknowledge with gratitude that we are in the traditional and ancestor territory of the Kaikite First Nation, and we give thanks for First Nations people everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land on which we live, we work, and we play. We are grateful to be together today in our community with joy, to sing together, to laugh together, to be inspired by ideas for wholehearted living, and to connect with love to one another. Many names and paths lead to the one presence and one power that we call God. That power is creating, attracting, and unifying as a force of love energy which surrounds us, which lies within us, which expresses as us and through us, in which we live and move and have our being. In this energy, and as this energy, we are all one, and from this oneness, we send a message and a blessing of unconditional love, peace, and abundant joy to all who belongs everywhere. And we are grateful, and so it is. Okay, I will now read the daily word for August 7th. And the main word is release. Releasing the past, I make room for the future. My life experiences have provided me with many gifts, from joyous to painful. I have taken something from each one, a nugget of wisdom, understanding, solace, that has helped me evolve into a person I am today. I am always growing, always changing. With gratitude, I receive the blessings while letting the painful memories go. I have no room for regret and do not dwell on things I have no power to change. As I release unwanted thoughts and unpleasant memories, I free myself to enjoy new experiences and create beautiful, lasting memories. With an uncluttered mind and an unburdened heart, I embrace the present moment and eagerly create my bright, beautiful future. a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away. Ecclesiastes 3:6. Thank you. Now, I would like to introduce Alexandra, who's going to be speaking today. Alexandra, as we all know and love her here, started Unity about 30 years ago and has served in Windsor, Ontario, White Rock, Unity of Vancouver, and of course, Unity of New Westminster. And she's given us workshops, learned some techie things, and has been basically supporting our church in many ways. She became a licensed Unity teacher 5 years ago, and we're lucky to have her here. And her feelings are that she's so privileged to have this as her spiritual home. So I'd like you to give thanks and welcome to Alexandra.
Good morning. Just trying to deal with all the tech stuff here. So thank you, Sharon. And I can tell you, I'm really happy that you're up here taking your turn now as platform. And yeah. Yes. And Sharon gave, talk about service. How many years as usher? I think literally as part of my, spiritual sojourn, I came to New West, and then I live in Vancouver, so I ended up at Unity of Vancouver briefly because as part of my path, I needed to have a minister who would be my sponsoring minister and mentor for my licensed Unity teacher path. And then what happened is Joy Young, who was the minister here, resigned and retired. So I ended up in Vancouver, and I'd left right when Sharon was taking over ushering. So I figured that was about 12 years ago. So I admire your tenacity and gift of service for all of those years. So thank you for that. So yeah, never enough applause and gratitude for the people who are contributing their loving service here. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. So what we're going to do today is we're doing what I call the down and dirty talk. And for those of you who checked your email, you probably were expecting to see Janet Law here today. And I'm not Janet Law. So what happened is Thursday, she called me and said, just got back from Kelowna with my husband. We were visiting my sister. She called to say she has COVID. And both Janet and her husband, Brian, tested themselves. Brian had COVID. Janet did not at that time. I'm still hoping she's COVID-free. And we had a discussion, and the result was, maybe it's better, inner wisdom says, not to come, and we'll make sure you come back again sometime. So Janet's talk has only been postponed. She will be back. And before Rona had left, I had a meeting with her to talk about the guest speakers and who would be coming, and we tossed around some ideas, and I said, well, look, I'll do one talk. So some of you might have been here for that. And I said, if needed, I'll be a backup, because I knew, life happens, right? And then, sure enough, it turns out Janet called. So Rona and I had set this up. We had a little bit of a talk, I say it in my back pocket, and that's what you're getting today. So again, as a licensed Unity teacher, I always say I put on my teacher hat a lot of the times when I'm giving talks, and I'm sharing information that's near and dear to my heart. Some of you may know about it, some of you may not. Some of you might go, huh? And other people might go, oh, okay, that explains it. So I'm going to give a little summary of what Unity structure is how it's set up. And it will be definitely the Coles Note version. However, after that, you have an opportunity by looking in your bulletin, and you will see a card in there, an index card, and a pen. And so during my talk, if anything comes to mind that you would like to know about Unity, I'm inviting you to write it down, and I will do my best to answer those questions after I've given a little overview of the Unity movement as it stands today. So, feel free if anything's coming to you. This is something Rona has done before. We've done it in the past, and this is something Rona actually suggested. So her consciousness is with us here today. So what I'm going to do is start with what is the big picture. And this is a diagram that was created by Unity, and I will thank once again Wendy Carr, licensed Unity teacher representative on the Unity Canada board. She shared a lot of her resources with me, and this is one of them. And I thought, wow, it really is a simple way to describe what the Unity movement overall in our world today, how it's set up. So let's have a look. So first of all, you would think unity sounds like one, yes? However, there's actually two arms of unity. Two. One is Unity Worldwide Ministries, and they have certain responsibilities to deal with ministers, hiring ministers, making sure that there are trained ministers, dealing with any conflict procedures, making sure that the individual ministries of which we are one has their needs met. There are supports, there's a whole organization of people that work for your benefit. And it might seem like a top-down thing, but ultimately it's always with you, the congregant, in mind, and is Unity meeting your needs. The other part is Unity World Headquarters at Unity Village. Big, long name. That arm deals with things like prayer, deals with publications, those daily words that we get, any of the little booklets that some of you might get emails about or that show up here. They're the ones who are handling that. And it says at Unity Village. At Unity Village. And I'll touch on that in a minute. What I'd like you to know, though, is Unity, like people, I'm speaking for myself, we've had a journey that we go on where sometimes life is going really smoothly and sometimes there are challenges. Well, Unity started out with these, this structure started with Unity Worldwide Ministry. Whoops, sorry, wrong button. No, there I go again. Let's try it again. So Unity Worldwide Ministries was in a community called Lee's Summit near Kansas City, Missouri, where Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, that we heard about the last time I spoke, founded Unity, Kansas City, Missouri. And so the business arm of things was Unity Worldwide Ministries, and they had their own location. And then all the spiritual stuff was happening at Unity Village. And that became Unity World Headquarters. And for a long time, there was a divide. There was, dare I say, infighting, my term. They were having a hard time getting things together and joining as one in unity. And as people within the organization recognized this, they said, wait a minute, this isn't what we're about. So how about we find out why we are having differences of opinion, how can we come together? Ultimately, prayer and meditation was always the root. We got something going on, let's go to where we know the answers are. And they did. And what happened is they eventually sold the building in Lee's Summit, which gave a lot of money and helped financially, because, you know, who doesn't like some extra money coming our way? And Unity Worldwide Ministries moved to Unity Village. So they revamped the space to make it so that they could be connected on the same property, all sharing a common vision, a common goal, a common mission and purpose. Each one with their own different flavor, yeah, and yet still all in the same direction. You can't see me on the screen. Oh, that screen. A little more? Yeah? Oh, is that okay? Good. Let there be light. Okay. And I just trust, you know, things are going to work out, right? So turning on the light. So that's kind of where we are now. And I've been to Unity Village multiple times through my training. I will give you a heads up that there's a chance there will be a Unity Canada conference next year at Unity Village. And I'm sure hoping if you haven't made it there that you might consider going. That's to be determined at this stage. It was set up before COVID, so who knows. But that's something that you might have a chance if you never thought you'd go to Unity Village or you never knew what that was all about. There might be an opportunity coming up in the future. And as I get information, I'll make sure that it gets to you. I'm sure Rona will as well. So what about these other parts? Well, we've got regions. So you can imagine there's this big world we live in. Unity is all around the world. And in order to help people manage their own needs in Unity, they split up into regions. Canada, and I'll show you another picture in a sec, Canada is not only a region, because we got in on the ground floor, and even though we're separate from the United States, because we're close partners with the United States, we became a region as well as a country. And I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. Ministries. Again, us, Unity of New Westminster, Vancouver, Unity Vancouver Island, all ministries. Ministries everywhere in the United States and ministries around the world. And then we get to what I like to say is the best part, and that's you, congregations. And you notice congregations are the biggest circle there, and they are supporting everything else. Because if people weren't being involved at the grassroots level in Unity, there wouldn't be a Unity anymore. Now, here we have the United States with all of their different regions. And there we are, Canada at the top, a region and a separate country. And the ones that are close to the border, like the Northwest region, that's, you know, think Seattle and Bellingham. Those Unity ministries there are ones that we connect with. Try and do a little bit of sharing. There's a workshop coming up in September in Linwood, which is where Walt was a member before he joined us. And so there's an exchange of information and connection so that we do feel more of that unity. Australia, over here. Yep, unity in Australia, unity in Africa, unity in Europe. Don't think Asia, but I could be wrong. There's Hispanic world, there's a unity presence in the Hispanic world. And I met the minister in Melbourne, Australia, when I went to a conference a few years ago. So, you know, we're not just the little white church on the corner. That's what this talk is about. To give you perspective that it's us and so much more, and we are part of a greater whole. Now, Canada. We're coming to what's kind of our backyard. These are all the ministries in Unity in Canada. So you might have heard me say, I attend once a month a spiritual leaders call, Unity Canada call. Rona attends those as well, Reverend Rona. And that's where virtually we get together with people across the country. There's a study group out in New Brunswick, which I don't believe made it on this list. And we go literally from coast to coast so that people can share ideas, support each other, find out what's happening. And again, continue with that idea of unity. And if you weren't already aware, there's a newsletter that goes out from Unity Canada. And every month, Unity Canada selects ministries that will be receiving prayer. So we hold in prayer, and every month that changes, and there's usually 2 or 3 ministries, so that we can, in consciousness, hold the highest and best, even if we can't be there in person. Sometimes we do send contributions financially, sometimes we receive contributions financially. So there is, again, a connection in all of the ministries in Canada. And in October, the Thanksgiving weekend, there's going to be a Unity Canada conference held in Nanaimo. And if you're interested, yes, there's money involved because there's registration fees. However, if you are interested in going and finding out more about it, it is open to any congregant that would like to go. And I can provide you with more information about that. I'm sure when Reverend Rona comes back, she'll be talking more about it, especially with the board. So this conference sometimes happens like in Toronto, in Ottawa, any place between the east and the west, and it happens to be this year, it's in Nanaimo. So it's a wonderful opportunity to connect with people to find out more about Unity if you're interested. It's a 3-4 day event. Now, this is giving a little bit more detail about the big picture. Unity, a positive path for spiritual living. That's the overarching mission. That's the statement about what Unity is all about. And it has these different parts. I've already mentioned the Unity Worldwide Ministries, Unity World Headquarters at Unity Village. Now, Silent Unity is something hopefully everyone is familiar with. 24/7 prayer available either by phone or by email. It's been going for over 125 years. And there is always someone to pray with you, whatever the need may be. And that is part of, again, the prayer. You can see the arrow going to Unity Worldwide Headquarters at Unity Village. And Unity Canada, yep, we're a region, like I mentioned before. Now, something I haven't touched on is Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. This is like the Unity University. That's where Reverend Rona graduated from. She graduated with her master's degree, and she graduated as a minister. So she received her training. And there are courses like you won't believe online. You can go to the village. There are some things done in person still these days. However, everything's available virtually. You name it, it's there. And you can audit classes for a small fee. If you were interested in really taking this seriously and want to get some credentialing, which is what I did, this is where you go. There are websites for all of these. I didn't bother putting them up. However, a little search on the website, on the internet, you will find anything about Unity. I will warn you, though, that what you might end up finding out is something about some, I want to say, video game type thing. If you've ever searched Unity on the website, there's this whole other Unity thing that comes up. we had the name first, just so you know. Yeah. And it's a registered trademark. So, so they have their whole thing. So if you put unity.org or just Unity Church, even though we don't use the word church anymore, it's part of that evolution in consciousness to say that we're going beyond to see ourselves more than associated with a building. So you can find out any more information you want from these websites. And there's lots more out there if you decide to start digging around. And again, I'll help you out if you're interested. Now this is an overview of the actual Unity Village. And you can see lots of buildings. It started out as an idea in the 50s. Charles and Myrtle bought this huge property, hundreds of acres outside of Kansas City, and they had this idea of building this complex where people could gather for prayer, for events that would nourish their spiritual, selves, and then also to receive education. One of the purposes, prayer and education, are like twofold purposes of what Unity is all about. And then they have now, joined together, the two arms of Unity, have their offices here, and also they have a hotel, a world-class hotel. They've got this huge dining area. They've got a huge bookstore with, you name it, anything and everything. And since the last time I went, which was 2017, it's all been renewed, revamped, remodeled. I haven't even seen the latest, and I've seen pictures, but it's growing and getting better all the time. And right now they're having the Charles Fillmore Festival happening there. So people that are really want to learn about the roots of Unity and what the Fillmores did when they started. And there's a group of ministers and instructors that are getting together to share that. It's also online as well, like everything else these days. So Silent Unity is, you can't see it too close here. Silent Unity is this one. This is a water tower, by the way. This was the brainchild, the whole complex was a brainchild of Lowell Fillmore, one of the sons of Myrtle and Charles. And he had the vision. He did the architectural drawings. If you go to Unity Village, there's a place where you can see all of this. Now we get to the part where I may or may not be able to answer your questions. So if you haven't had a chance to write anything down and anything's coming to you, I feel free to do that now. I'm just going to put a caveat at the beginning of all of this, that any answers I give are coming from my current state of consciousness, which hopefully will evolve. I know if somebody had asked me certain questions a few years ago, I would have given probably a totally different answer. And Charles Fillmore, one of my favorite lines of his is, "I reserve the right to change my mind." So I'll do my best to answer them. I will say also that the way my understanding is that all you need to know is already within you. There might be facts that I could share, like I just did. Ultimately, if it's about how to be in this world, I believe that you have all of those answers within you. And if you're willing to, invest time in the silence and in prayer and meditation or whatever process works for you, any concerns you have, any questions you have can be answered in that way. And in the meantime, there's always people around, whether it's Silent Unity or just the folks you see sitting here, that will be a support as you figure out those things in your life. Because as I said in the last talk I did, we're fully divine and we're fully human. So we're dealing with that as well. So having said that, I'm going to ask if one of our ushers could come around with a basket and collect any of the cards that might have been written. and I'll do my best to see what Spirit has to say, I guess. Does anybody have a burning question right now that they can't wait until the... Oh, Chris. Yeah, you go, Chris.
I just wondered if Unity ministers and teachers in other countries, do they have to study at Unity Village?
Well, because it's virtual now, they can do it online. It used to be, and I don't even know the updated, again, COVID has changed everything. There's also new information coming out, even about licensed Unity teacher training. That's coming out. So the answer is, as far as I know, at this time, people can do it virtually. People are encouraged to come to the village to experience it firsthand, because it's such an integral part of Unity, and the energy there is fantastic. So if I learn that there's a different requirement in the program, I'll let you know. I know Reverend Rona had to go, I think, 3 different times to meet with the other students that were at the same point in their studies for maybe a couple of weeks in a year. And the rest of it she did online. And I'm pretty sure that it's possible to do it online. And yeah, that's as much as I know right now. Okay, do we have cards? Do we have? Oh, there. Okay, merci. I went out for brunch yesterday, and there was a French waiter, and like from France, and I started pretending I knew how to speak French. Oh yes, were the Fillmores in touch with other new thought people such as Emmett Fox? And yes, I will say that there's, the Fillmores were around at the same time. Not quite there yet. The Fillmores were around at the time of Ralph Waldo Emerson. There's Christian Science, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her name right now, the person who founded Christian Science. So they all connected. Who is it?
Mary Baker
Eddy, yes, Mary Baker Eddy. And so, yes. And whether they had a personal relationship with them, I don't know. I just know that there seemed to be something happening in the zeitgeist that meant that these ideas were coming to a lot of people at the same time. Emily Cady is one of the people that has what I call the foundational text in Unity. She never met Charles and Myrtle. They took her writings and published them with her permission as part of their Unity magazine that went out to their, Unity people. So no, what's the word I want to use? There's no limit to truth with a capital T. And so yes, Fillmore's, they were open to meeting with anybody and anybody that had the same, I'll say, spirit moving through them. How's that? Okay? But I could find out about Emmett, or you could even look it up online. Or maybe somebody who knows a lot more about Unity might know that. Okay. What's the difference between prayer and meditation? Oh, yeah. In the Unity, there's a Unity, what they call a prayer process. And I actually took a workshop a few months ago, and there's a bunch of new terms for it. We used to call it the 5-step process, and meditation was part of the 5-step process. And really, the meditation part is where we do our best to turn off what I'll call the ego mind, the thoughts, monkey mind, all that chatter that goes on. even if it's just for a moment. The thoughts want to come back, of course, that's just nature. And as we recognize that that's going to happen, we don't fight it anymore. We just let it. I always say when I do meditation, you might hear it today, let it float on by. And there'll be more. And then you go, oh, yep, there's another one, okay. And turning within and getting in what Charles and Myrtle called the silence, which is very different from no noise. Has a different meaning. So that's the difference between prayer is, so that would be a brief description of meditation as I understand Unity's take on it. Prayer, and Sharon said it today in her opening, is affirmative prayer. It is not, and I don't know how clearly I can say this, Unity does not believe in, please, dear God, make it better. Please, dear God, I want. Affirmative prayer is stating a truth that goes deeper and beyond whatever a circumstance is. I want to use healing for an example. I've got a knee that gives me issues. Do I want to not feel discomfort? Do I want to have freedom of movement? Sure, that's the physical. So what's the affirmative prayer? That my essence is health, complete health and wholeness. And if I focus on that, that's my prayer. That's the statement of truth that I bring to whatever the physical condition is. And the Unity 5-step or 5 movements now of prayer move from getting settled, focused, maybe you're using an affirmation, I am one with God. I feel like I'm getting the hook, you know. It's like, I still have more cards here. The second step is using an affirmation. And what happens is, as we say these statements of truth, I am one with God, I am health and wholeness, I am one with ever-present abundance, whatever it is, I am love. That allows us to move from that agitated state of the ego mind into a state of peace. And when we get to that peace, that's the meditative state. And once we're in that meditative state, if we're open, insights will come. That still small voice that some people might have heard mentioned in Unity, that's where it might come. It might not happen at that time. It might be a week later when you're driving your car or watching a movie, and there could be the aha that seemed to be missing in your life, that question. So sometimes in the midst of meditation, you can get that, what is termed realization of oneness with God. This is it. Yes, I get it. I am that divinity. Yeah, I'm also this. And once that realization happens, then you move into a state of gratitude. And we always end prayer with gratitude. Even if you don't see what you thought you wanted showing up right away. That's the key. Gratitude is not about, yay, I got what I wanted. Yay, my prayer is answered. That's all good too. Gratitude is just the total appreciation of the understanding that all my needs are met, and I may not know how it's going to happen, and I accept that it will, and my job is to be ready for it, ending with gratitude. So hopefully that covered prayer and meditation. And is there one person in charge? I'm not sure what that means. In Unity? Oh, yeah, there's like a CEO, and his name is, that's Worldwide Ministries. Shad Groveland is his name. He's actually giving a talk in Linwood, the one I mentioned earlier. He's a CEO, and it's like any organization. He's one of many that share responsibilities. But, you know, if the buck stops someplace, it stops with Shad. And then it's, oh my gosh, I can picture him. I've met him, and I can't remember his name for Unity. There is one for Unity headquarters as well. Oh, I guess that they might take away my licensed Unity. I can get that for you too. But yeah, and yes, there is. I'm not sure exactly what his title is. However, there is one for, it'll probably come as soon as I'm done the talk. Yeah, so yes, yes, there's 2 people in charge, one for each. And then there's a head of Silent Unity as well, a head of the Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute, although I don't know who that is at all. That's changed so many times, I've lost track. What does symbolism of Unity logo represent? You get to choose what it means to you, literally. If you look up what does the Unity logo mean on the website, or just look it up, what happened is there came a time in Unity's development where they said, let's find a way to have one symbol that everyone will recognize as Unity that nobody else has. And so the powers that be at that time, not Shad and not, oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. There were other people, and they said, okay, we're going to get a marketing team to go and do all this stuff, and they had a whole program called Unity Branding, and they came up with this. And what they did was they said it's open to interpretation. I've heard anything from a fountain to, oh my God, pineapple. There have been a lot of jokes about it, because let's put it this way. That symbol that we see, the dove, actually, it's not a dove, it's a seagull. The Unity bird is actually a seagull. This might be a dove, but the Unity bird that we used to see is a seagull. And they said, we want something that is so generic that it doesn't associate with anything else. So, short answer, what does it mean? You get to choose what it means to you. And I will say a lot of people weren't happy. They were going, we don't like it, we want the old one back. Yeah, we know that Rona is the spiritual leader of Unity of New Westminster. What does that really mean as far as what she does? So is the board the leader of practicals, and what does that entail? So I will say, yes, Rona is the spiritual leader. She's also, according to her job description, the CEO, which means she oversees all the stuff that goes on in our Unity congregation, our Unity community. And the board does do the practicals. I think that's probably, and Cliff, of course, he's handling Zoom today, because normally I would be doing Zoom, and I'm here. But briefly, the way I understand it is the board handles the financials, the business end of things, and Aaron, as former president, would you like to share anything about how you understood the board's role? Putting you on the spot, sorry.
No, it's fine. That they provide direction based on feedback from the congregation.
There you go.
So the congregation goes to the board, goes to the minister, and then we ended up with a giant partnership.
An art show there. Yeah, I think I've heard that one before too. Yeah. So, and if anybody really does want to know what Rona's role is, there is a job description. I don't have it handy. Aaron's familiar with that. And it's somewhere probably in the office or on the computer, and there will be a file. And it covers a lot, is what I will say. And so if you want more information about that, again, I always say I will help and do whatever. So, last call? Anybody? Okay. So, I'm hoping that as you wrap this part of our service up, that you have learned some things, have understood that we are part of a greater whole, and to know that you are connected to, when we say we are one, we are. And that goes around the world. Yes?
That was really interesting. So are there more questions?
That was it.
Oh, okay.
That was it. I even printed out some in case you guys ran out, but I think we're good. And yeah, and I'm sure Rona will do this again. Reverend Rona will do this again at some point. And again, these are things that she will have a different take on because of her training, her background, and her consciousness. So you're getting a snippet of where Alexandra is today in consciousness. And thank you to everybody that contributed, and thank you for being here. And I am grateful for the opportunity to once more be up here and just know how important everyone here is. And the people, I haven't really addressed the people that are online today, my Zoom gang, and anyone else who sees this after. This is just scratching the surface of what Unity is, and to really experience it, for those of you online, I invite you to find your nearest Unity community and do your own research, because Unity changes lives. And so it is. Amen. Hit it. We'll have a brief meditation. We'll sing a song and then have a brief meditation. No, I think we're going to wait. Yeah, we're going to hear that first, and then I'll do a quick meditation. Yeah. And then we'll do announcements. Okay.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present. It's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love.
I choose love.
Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present. It's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One loving family, sharing one son. I choose love.
No, you didn't. Okay, I'm Sharon Blackwell again, and I'm here to give you some announcements. On Monday, we have our prayer service from 10:30 to 11:30 on Zoom, and you can check our website for the link for that. And we're very excited about the Medicine Wheel Labyrinth. The concrete has been completed, and soon we'll be filling around the spaces and painting. Wow! Add plants, bench for seating, and I understand it should be wheelchair accessible. Fantastic! And we can thank Lyle Ellingham for inspiration on that. And guess what? On the 21st, he'll be speaking regarding this whole thing. So that'll be super exciting. Okay. So let me see, what else do we have here? We have a star blanket, another one from our very creative Lyle, is in the fellowship hall, and you can buy raffle tickets for it before and after the service. Also on, I believe it's Wednesdays and Fridays between 11 and 1 when people are here. You can, so the prices are $10 each or 3 for $25. And so that's the grand prize. The other prizes are, and let's see, what do we have here? We have a barbecue and golf clubs. So those are second ones. I wouldn't want to, I'm not interested in golf clubs. You got to choose something better for me. We also have a booth coming up with the New West Pride celebration. Is it still on Columbia Street? Yeah. Yeah, it's August 13th between 3 and 8 p.m. Is there a sign-up sheet for? It's be good for people to sign up for maybe an hour or 2 hours to man the table. We usually have our prayer chest out there, and you'd be surprised the number of people who like to have their prayers in the prayer chest too. And we'll have some literature, and we'll just be simply there to greet people and let them know that we are in support too. So anyway, August 13th, between 3 and 8 p.m. Okay. And as our summer series continues, we get Thomas DeShooter again. He's from Nanaimo, isn't he? And he's part of the Unity of Vancouver Island. And he was a great speaker the last time. Really enjoyed that. I just, on a little note of my own, I thought I'd remind you that there are elders in our midst. Some of them are at home and cannot attend, and let's think about them in our prayers and give a chance, if you have a chance, to contact them, either visit them or call them. And those of you who've been here for a while know who they are. So, we are grateful for your gifts, which support our ministry. Many of us contribute on pre-authorized payments, so feel free to pass the basket along. Usually I put my hand in there for a little energy. As we sing our blessing song, please bring to mind something you are grateful for. So on Lord will be, we are so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have.
I love it. Looks so inspirational, like we're just opening up to the sun and all the spirit. Okay. Thank you for everyone who has volunteered, and there's lots of people who volunteer that don't get recognized, but I'll just state that we do have AV people. We got about 3 of them there. We have people working on the Zoom. We have people working at the top here. We have some those who are putting items in our brochures, our speakers. We just have lots of support here, and we're so grateful to have everyone who works and provides service to our church. So anyway, besides that, I just wanted to remind you that you're all welcome to have coffee downstairs. And I really appreciate everyone who came and gave me some support too. But it is so great, so wonderful to have so many people in the audience on such a warm summer day. And I really appreciate the fact that we have all of you. So give yourselves a clap. So can we make a circle around, and we'll be singing our I don't see it down here. Oh, peace song, and then prayer for protection.
That was meant to be with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God.